This simulation here is basically showing a mound of sediment that was placed in the center of the estuary. And then the flow fields are going up and over that mound and then eroding it based on the shear stress predicted by the model, exceeding a limited threshold. That those particles go up into suspension and then they get moved along. We actually tell the particles what their settling velocities are, so they settle out in regions where there is weak shear stress. And you can see in this simulation here that most of the sediments in an unvegetated estuary end up on the sides of the estuary itself. And you can see that the particles here in suspension, if the colors basically move around throughout the estuary and get mixed entirely through the estuary in just a couple of tidal cycles. We can contrast that to what the simulation looks like if we include eelgrass meadows. So here we have different critical shear stresses in the meadows that allow the sediments to settle out. And you can see that the sediments still get transported throughout the estuary, but much of it stays within the meadow itself. So the particles reach the meadow. There's shear stress, bed shear stresses that are greatly reduced, and the eelgrass traps the particle themselves. So most of the particles in the end that are eroded from this artificial mound end up in the eelgrass meadows, or again, towards the sides of the estuaries, as you can see the contours growing.